Welcome to Spilling Beans. Today I'm sitting in the city of forts, which is Delhi, and along with me is Ashish, Ranjan, and Gautam Gandhi. They are the founders of Fort City Brewery, which is in Hauzkhas, Delhi. And today we'll deep dive into the understanding of how to be a craft beer entrepreneur. So get your beer, sit tight, because this is going to be a 1 hour long conversation of understanding the insights of business and the product. So now coming to Gautam and Ashish. So let's start with understanding what's the origin story of Fort City. We'll start with Gautam.
So I used to be a lawyer before, and then I moved to the UK to join the bar. So while this was happening, I wanted to raise the bar. So I started hanging out with some brewers across at the local pubs. And then they spoke to me about homebrewing at that point, and I briefly read something about homebrewing. But I was a little curious about how the whole process goes through and everything. Actually, at that point, I wasn't thinking about process also. I was just curious if because I thought they were fucking around with me, that they're going to make beer at home. And I went for a homebrew session. Some of these guys are running some excellent breweries today, all based out of England. I helped them clean up, and then they gave me a case back once the beers were ready. While I used to hang out with these guys all throughout, they spoke about beer in a very different way, and everything I was tasting different. So then I came back to India, and then at that point I knew, I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. I don't want to be a barrister. And also a whole rebel mode about me started coming across at that point, because I felt like, something like being a barrister or something was like being stuck to a colonist idea. And I came back to India. Then again, then I realized, I can't just deep dive into this because there was no set stage made for this at all at that point. So then I started practicing law again. And then 5 years, 3-4 years into practice. And around that time, I broke my leg for about 6 months. I was in bed. I was only reading beer.
Oh my God.
And then I changed office, and then that was my last time to figure out if I can do this, or if I want to be a lawyer, or if I want to quit.
So you had to break your leg for that.
Yeah, I had to break leg. Then one day I walked to my boss and I told him, sir, I want to make beer. And then obviously...
How was his reaction?
He asked me a few questions about why, what, and so on. I felt I convinced him, but I'm pretty sure in his head he was thinking, kya ho raha hai, sale. And then I didn't tell anyone at home. I told my mom briefly about it, but I didn't tell dad anything about it because my come from a legal background at home and all, and then they were all like, "Wakalat karo, uske baad jo karna hai kar lo" types.
Yeah.
In my head, wakalat kar li thi. So uske baad, what I did, I was roaming around Southeast Asia without telling my dad that I quit my job. And I told him I just, around the court holidays, I just clubbed them together, and then I was meeting brewers around. And then everyone was talking about Pastor Street, Heart of Darkness, and all these guys. And at that point, Pastor Street also won the only Beer World Cup award for a chocolate gold beer.
Oh, wow.
A gold award for a chocolate stout, a good 14% beer. So I applied to them, and then I was applying to places in India at that point. And around that same time, I started homebrewing before that a bit. And then at that point, I started homebrewing again in India. At that point, getting things was so difficult, sourcing and everything. So I slowly became friends with everyone in the industry through a late friend of mine, John Epen, who started this a blog and then a Facebook group called Friends of Froth. And that was a community of nerds who were mad about craft beer. Craft nerds, I would say. And then going back, then I came back, and then I was applying to different places in India. And the responses I was getting was was pretty bad. I thought I'll quit and I'll go back to law at that point. John is like, no, hang on, you're making kick-ass beers and all.
What was the people saying?
They were not even letting me in as an intern also.
Oh, damn.
So they kept a very rigid structure, and then I applied to Pastor Street, and Pastor Street was over-supportive. They knew I had this enthusiasm about brewing better beers. And then they took me on board, and then from my home brewing journey, I started realizing how breweries at a commercial level function, and And then I came back to India. This was just before COVID, like January 2020. And then both of us were getting drunk at the 15A club, and then we decided, let's open a brewery. And then at that point, Ashish started something with his college friends around in Maharashtra called Singularity Brewing. So we went and brewed a batch over there to be at a beer festival in Bombay, but then COVID hit. And then I applied to a few places. One of the places was like a brewery on a cruise ship. So I was thinking about, traveling the world and being in a different country every year.
Wow.
And working for a different brewery every year, and then gaining that expertise, because I thought what I want to do, India wasn't ready for it at that point.
You were way early for
And
it.
beware, actually, my mindset was just because what I saw around in Delhi. Things like that did exist in Pune, Bombay and all. But in Delhi, no one was doing like what we were also thinking. And then one thing led to the other, and then we met other partners through another dear friend. They had the expertise of running restaurants, bars, and so on.
Okay.
Phone should be on silent.
Yeah, exactly. So breaking a leg to being a rebel, to not giving a damn about anything, what you want, you will have to achieve.
That's our brand identity, right? We don't suck up to anything of industry standards. I mean, industry standards are sucking up.
Amazing.
Because, see, we know we have to stay, we have to exist, but the people we have to suck up to keep changing. So what do I do? Do I spend time in running my own business and making good beers, or just sucking up to people? There's less time, and you got to invest your time in the right places in that way.
Fair. I'm sure Ashish going to have complete different start to Fort City, because you were working in corporate and then exited corporate. So how was it, the transition for you, and when did Gandhi pull you in for this?
Yeah, for me it was not just my individual transition. I think it was a transition of an entire generation of corporate and government servants working together, because me, my dad, my generation before my father, everyone comes from a very intense service, government background, and nobody has ever even thought about starting a business or getting into something that's more entrepreneurial. After finishing my undergrad at Kanpur, I got into a very technical role. And after a point, I realized that I want to explore more creative side, along with having some technical expertise about different sciences. So I went for my MBA at SP Jain. During the course, we had this very interesting exchange program wherein they took us to Purdue, the entire operations batch. We went to Purdue and as part of their Credit School of Management exchange program.
Okay.
So they had, one, it gave us exposure into a different style of working, the way Indians work and the way Americans and Europeans work.
Before Trump.
Yeah, that was completely different.
There's something to learn there. And also they had some live projects as part of that exchange program. So we were working with some existing industries, some small businesses, and helping them scale up. So their, you call it destiny or by chance, I got a chance to work with a small brewing company called People's Brewing in the Chicago area.
That's the seed.
So they were fairly big, bigger than what we are right now, but they were only supplying within Chicago, and they were struggling to maintain their raw material, their inventory. The malts were coming from different parts of the world, the hops were coming from different parts, different vendors. It was a very complicated supply chain network, and if anything gets disrupted and you're into bottling and kegging, your quality cannot change. You have to figure out what malts can be replaced with what. So a part of that is also recipe development, but a very important part, integral part, is managing your inventory and vendors.
Okay.
So it was a limited exposure, but that was the first time I realized that beer is not something that comes straight from heaven. It's something that we make. Like there is a lot of human involvement, and it's something that can be done. It's not magic, like complete. It's still magic, but not completely magic. There's a lot of human involvement in that. So I got to see that for the first time in my life, the entire process, how it transforms from a malt to a beer in the glass.
Wow.
A very interesting thing, the owner told me for the first time when he went to the brewery, he introduced me to the most important employee. It was not their brewer, it was not their server, not their marketing head.
Cat.
It was a cat.
Oh.
The cats keep rodents away, right? So
Yeah.
of the malt bags and all. So
Yes, then
So,
definitely.
Yeah, if you don't take the cat into the picture, you can never be sure about your inventory. You think you have 10 bags, but you open the bag, you just have 10 grains left in there.
That's a big learning.
Yeah. So we don't have a cat yet, but
yeah.
We'll
I'm
get-
not a dog
we'll get
person,
one.
but let's see. See, my issue with having cats here and we have chandeliers all around, I don't want a cat to be popping on the chandeliers when guests are sitting here.
Yeah.
So that's a nightmare for us, right? Imagine something falling on a guest or something.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want that.
but that
So
was
we had
like a-
someone brought a cat here, I guess, man, once. And the cat was like, sneaking around the whole place and all. And then like, I had my heart in my mouth with that one. So.
But their entire QC team was a cat. So yeah, that was like a huge canon moment for me. I can never forget the interactions we had there. And that's when I realized that there's something we can brew and make at home also. So we came back from there with a lot of exposure, a lot of understanding of how businesses run in other parts of the world, and most importantly, like the knowledge about beer and around the business, how the supply chain works, what kind of ingredients go into it, what is the process of brewing, how difficult or easy it is, and how the finances work. So that's when I started talking to my friends about it. We just had this random discussion, and also at that point, the way Indian beer industry was evolving, we were, I think, having the first wave of craft beers coming into India. Toyd had started, Dulali had started, a couple of good brands were there in Maharashtra as well.
That was which year?
It's around 2014, 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
This started around, Dilali started around 2009.
Yeah.
So usually when we speak about the country's first brewery, it's like highly debatable. Because the Pune guys say it's Dilali. The Delhi guys say there's a place called Hauzkhas in Gurgaon.
Okay.
So those brewers always argue about that.
So it's like that Rasgulla ownership issue.
Yeah. Like who made the first butter
Who
chicken?
made the first butter
Yeah.
chicken?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not fighting about it yet, but they are fighting about it, but luckily the fight got over and then we started our place. So it's going great in that way.
Yeah, similar issue in coffee. Everybody says that coffee came via Baba Budan. Baba Budan.
In his beard.
Beard में 7 beer छुपा के वो लेके आए थे, but there is no credible source for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, coming back. Sorry.
So that's when
We should make a story up like that for marketing, man, right?
Yeah, that is good idea. But
इसमें छुपा गया।
क्या hops रहे?
नहीं, इतने काफी नहीं होगा, मतलब
You need a bigger beard. But there are other ways to hide a beard.
No, don't get those suggestions, man. There's going to be kids watching this getting inspired to start.
No, we'll cut that part.
Then another interesting thing happened just after I graduated, finished my MBA. I was waiting for the first job to join Reliance, and a friend of mine, because I kept talking about our live project experience, and other people also went for live projects, but they had like really boring projects, like some paper manufacturer or cardboard manufacturer.
Working
So
in
they had
a-
nothing to talk about.
Like going to court.
Yeah. So when I graduated, a bunch of friends gifted me a book. It was Craft Beer for Punks. By
Craft beer for punks. Sounds the name.
Brewdog.
Brewdog.
James Watt.
Yeah. So that sort of inspired me to start something. And the book was mainly about what it takes to start.
Rebellion, basically, rebellion.
Get the business started, and how you don't have to stick to the norms and do what everyone's doing. Otherwise,
That's
you end
the
up making what
brand
everyone's
positioning
making.
of Fort
I'll tell
City.
you the craziest
It's
part.
it's not just the brand positioning. I think it's the core idea why we started the brewery, because there were a lot of beers available in the market, but we didn't like them, and we knew a lot of people who did not like them. So
And we were sick of schooling them to make better beer.
yeah,
So all these brands which already existed at that point, we were trying to school them about like, what are you doing?
you can't make a different product by using the same process and the same ideology. So its core ideology is to innovate and create something different. That's where the rebel factor also comes in, not sticking to the norms. So that's when I got like really serious about beers, but as a hobby, not as a side hustle, not as a business. As a hobby that started, and while working at Deloitte, I was traveling across the world and trying different beers in Germany, Belgium, US. And what really fascinated me was the culture around drinking beer, not the product. They were good beers. They were really good beers, very classy, very innovative beers that we were drinking. But the culture that was there around it, that really fascinated me. Every day after work, the entire team would get up, go for a pint or two to the closest brewery, and then they'll go home, fresh and fine. And next morning, same thing they'll repeat.
Like a point of rejuvenation for everybody.
12, 13 hours straight. After that, we just needed 2 pints.
People don't talk shit about their bosses, right? What do they do? They drink beer because they can go back to work the next day, and the bosses say the same thing. If they drink anything else, they can't go back to work in the morning and at the right time, right?
Yeah.
So.
And this used to happen with the bosses. Like after a few beers, we'll be bitching about our bosses while bosses are sitting there.
Yes, I worked in advertising agencies.
Yeah.
Been there.
Shit.
Yeah, okay, coming.
So that's when the culture really got into me, and that's when I decided that this is something I want to take up seriously as a not as a side project, but eventually as a full-time thing. When I got back, we started home brewing. He was way ahead into his home brewing journey. He had moved to Vietnam for his internship at Pastor Street. So
and that was the time of Friends of Fort.
Friends of Fort started somewhere about 2015-16 when John moved back from Canada to India, and then he started writing about beer, like talking about how, like, you know, how things can be better. And around the time of his passing, Tales of Froth was a blog he was running. It was the 40th most followed beer blog in the world.
Wow.
So it was pretty big. And the influence was there. And so, like, I'd always, like, you know, give a lot of credit to Friends of Froth and John, like, for introducing me to a lot of people, because see, when I wanted to homebrew at that point, I didn't even know where to get ingredients from. So all you could do at that point is a close friend of ours from Pune, again, Friends of Froth guy. I don't know if I should mention the name or not. He started a blog, and then if you wanted entry to the blog, you had to be introduced to him and send him your email ID. Then you get an email and you get entry to the blog, which said where you get what ingredients, where you get different things. Because this guy had already was spoken to all the suppliers, vendors, fabricators about, like, you know, like what is required and so on. So it was that difficult at that point.
So anybody wants to reach out for that? Personally message?
No, now it's all chill. Now, like, you know...
now we have websites, proper
yeah,
website,
Brew Nation, check out Brew Nation. You can just go click what you want. But, like, whatever they're selling is what are they selling? The government can't stop them. Like, they're selling malt. What is malt? Basically, Horlicks has got malt, right?
Yeah.
Stop selling Horlicks also then. You want people to stop brewing and not home brewing or anything like that. Like first thing, Horlicks should be banned. So, like, coming straight to the point, you can boil Horlicks and put some hops into it and yeast into it. Baker's yeast, you can just make beer at home like that.
Then you can
you can't control something which is natural and which is ongoing.
Then you have to ban all sugars. Any sugar that's left can ferment.
Because then in that way, like, you know, like you should shut down kirana ki dukaan also. Sare kirane ki dukaan band karo.
Yeah.
मतलब ये लोकल चाचू को मैं बोल दूं किराने वाले चाचू को कि मतलब आप बियर बना सकते हो imagine right in that mindset everyone will start brewing like but no it's not that like the way the government thinks is like you know they're all going to start doing it. No, it doesn't work like that, right? It takes a lot of you need to get out of your comfort zone, do that extra work, otherwise it doesn't make any sense. I mean, like the law doesn't make sense. Not everyone's going to do it.
Fair enough, yeah.
And as a hobby, it's quite expensive. It's when I started, I felt that I'll be making beer cheaper than what I'm drinking outside, what I'm paying for the beer outside. But it's actually 2-3 times costlier to because it's small scale and you need a proper.
And see what happens with that whole thing is once you get a good beer and then you start investing more and more in equipment because you want to better it. It's two things what is going on at that point. In a homebrew club, it's your ego trying to do better beers and also like you want to drink good beers.
So it's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole. Like you keep checking something I mean, like you keep looking at new ingredient or like new equipment. All you're going to do every day is just scroll through different websites and different things just to keep buying new things. And end of it, they won't even be placed in your own, in your own bedroom. And when you get up, there'll be like a Ellenwire flask on the side. There'll be like a agar plate on the side. Like, kegs lying around the place and all. Like, at a point, my mom also said, like, why don't you just, like, put some kegs, put a bed on top of it and just sleep. I mean, like a mattress on top of it and just sleep on that. Because the house is like that. Anyone who'd come home, they'd be like, what is that? What is that?
घर का लड़का बियर बनाता है घर पे
नहीं उसके बाद पूरा मोहल्ला जाता है बियर दे दो तो कोविड के टाइम I could exchange beer for anything because see there's a lot of alcohol smuggling happening but there was no beer around, right? Beer wasn't that easy to smuggle, so like my neighbors would be around, like there'd be a lot of people around just like beer chahiye, and at that point I was playing around too much with beer and I had excess beer. Obviously I can't drink it all. So then, I could have started an NGO at that point and do whatever I want. So beer was the best barter system possible. Because what do you do if you want to be drinking all day, you drink beer, right?
Absolutely.
You're sitting at home doing nothing. Yeah. So if you start the same thing and you're doing cocktails or something, you'd be done by 6 o'clock. And also my friends around that time who were doing all these cocktail experiments at home, they used to be passed out by 6 in the evening. And we used to be okay. I used to be brewing beer every day. I used to start drinking at 6 in the evening and then
Wow.
9 o'clock I'm in bed.
When is the time then when Gandhi met you?
I think this is part of Friends of Froth, where we got introduced.
Good shout out to Simba. So Simba was doing an event. So I was curating the event for Simba along with Friends of Froth in Khan Market. So there's a lucky draw. Which we put out, not a lucky draw actually, like a list of questions about beer basically.
Yeah, like a competition.
And Ashish was on it. That's how I met Ashish the first time.
Yeah. That's how we met physically. I think we had
we spoke in a few times before. Yeah. No, mainly on Insta, I guess.
Yeah.
At that point. Because he used to be pretty active on Insta.
Yeah, I used to post a lot about beer and
so
my experience drinking.
You traveled the world. Yeah. You have experienced tasted the working inside a brewery. You are so much into home brewing, started home brewing. When was the time that you decided, okay, now I need to start it as a business?
I think that's when I was talking about the culture, the way I see people are mad about just getting the one perfect pint in a day. Like when you wake up, you immediately start thinking about when you will have your first coffee and then you get active. The same flip side was for beers. I saw people really frustrated, really annoyed, disturbed, and they're just waiting for that one perfect pint. And when I saw that happen over and over every day, I was like, people need to know about this. People need to have that perfect pint, have that option. When we got back here in Delhi, we felt there's a huge market gap. Pune and Bangalore had still taken some steps towards getting to that closer to that perfect pint and having some options available. Delhi was really struggling.
All the beer guys at that point were mainly diplomats and expats who'd just be around the circles. And all the beer was happening but behind closed doors. And when we started, it started opening up, and then they're like, okay, now they realize there's actually a place to the standards, they get back home where they can go out and drink. So now they opened up, some of them have homebrew clubs inside the embassy. It's so it's beyond excise area also. Even if they put up a production brewery over there, they can drink inside. I don't think it's really going to make any difference. So that's been around in Delhi, but always behind closed doors.
So for an average consumer, the best you could get was probably a can of Budweiser.
Hoegaarden. When Hoegaarden came out, it was a big hype. Yeah. And then end of it, commercial brewery owns it, Budweiser owns it. So then apart from that, we never got anything else. There used to be beers coming in and beer going out, but all of the stuff was imported. And then the biggest problem we had in India, we thought imported was better. But see, the thing is, beer doesn't travel. So beer has to be as local as it could be. And because it goes off, imagine our storage conditions in the bonded warehouses. So at times it hits about 60 degrees, 45 degrees outside. They have a tin shed on top of it. Imagine all that heat on your beer. It's hitting repasteurization temperatures. So at that point, you're drinking swirl, like, you know. So guys, imported beer is not a great thing. It's shit. Especially unless it can be better if they have a cold chain. If they have cold chain, the distributor doesn't make money, so you won't get that beer all throughout. And imagine like explaining this whole cold chain process to customs, and then Delhi सरकारी देसी दारू की जगह. So that's the whole idea, no? Beer कौन सी बिकती थी जो ठंडी है?
Yeah.
And like UP ठंडी रखने के लिए 5 रुपए एक्स्ट्रा लेते थे.
ठंडी beer.
ठंडी beer 5 रुपए एक्स्ट्रा. भैया ये तो इतने की नहीं 5 रुपए एक्स्ट्रा ठंडी किया मैंने कूलिंग लगाई है.
That's when we saw a market opportunity. That's when I spoke to him. He was at Pastor Street, and we were like, we're very well placed in our.
Like, see, at that point, we were thinking about it, but like even I wanted to be around a bit more in terms of like I wanted to work around the world and be in different breweries. But then I think, you know, COVID grounded us to sit down and put things on the table to start like, you know, discussing things about how to go about it.
And when we saw there's such a huge opportunity right where we live.
Absolutely, huge market. I mean,
backyard, there's such a huge opportunity. Delhi being capital of the nation and not having a beer to represent itself, that was unimaginable.
And at that time, there are like a lot of other craft beers are coming up in this whole value chain of you know, having it cold or being refrigerated, but there were no breweries at.
No, see but you know today even if I get an imported beer, like, so you know why we are not going to bottles straight away right now. We're finding like, see, we can't get our entire range into bottles also. We eventually plan to get a couple of beers into bottles because these have to be non-pasteurized. If you pasteurize them, there won't be they'll be tasting shit. And today, how do I go and educate? At the liquor store owners need to know that. Then the back-end distributors know it. How do I train the entire guys about understanding this? Like someone जो मतलब जिसका काम है just picking up the beer from the thing and putting it on the corner. All of them have to be educated around the process कि बाहर नहीं रख सकते इसको. I don't want to name the places, and then some well-known places. You used to see the kegs lying out in the sun when your beer is ruined.
Absolutely,
it's ruined. You can't keep it like that. And with cold chain, we don't have the tradition of cold chain properly, like in India. I think also a lot is supposed to do with a vegetarian diet. And then around COVID, what we thought is like because of vaccinations being transported around, there will be an infrastructure for cold chain at that point. So at a point when we were planning this, we thought, you know, COVID का vaccine खत्म तो वो बचेगा हम लोग लेके जाएंगे इसको आगे.
That's a really good strategy.
We thought of it like that, but you know, it didn't work like that.
So now coming to that only, that you guys met, and then how is it from that day to you had an idea, okay, let's do it, and to the point day one of Fort City. Help me understand the journey.
Oh, it was a struggle.
The biggest struggle was department to department. While we were getting a licensing process, they did not know that a law like this existed. They literally told me, "आप गुड़गांव में खोल रहे हो ना?" नहीं sir, यहाँ खोल रहे हैं. So then I can't tell the department, but Google कर लेना. So from one officer to the other officer, they didn't know. One guy was like, नहीं है law. मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि sir देखो excise law है 2015 से है. बोलता नहीं है. तो and then again the biggest challenge was NDMC was under central government where there was a brewery already existing, and the other was around like different like, you know, SDMC was different, and we fell in SDMC.
Just like South Delhi, North Delhi.
Yeah, no. So wherever any government which is in the center, usually I think they run like NDMC, New Delhi Municipal Corporation. So MOB was under inside NDMC. So then they were like, वो NDMC में आप नहीं खोल सकते. मैं बोल रहा हूँ the law exists, is the same law for the entire thing. So that was the biggest challenge. Like not the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge was fire. And like get the fire licenses and all of that. But now we have it.
So you can look at it in this way. We're working at the intersection of two heavily regulated industries. So alcohol, F&B, restaurant, bars, they are regulated heavily. You have to go through multiple departments to get the clearances.
But departments didn't know.
And then there is alcohol production. which we have the brewing setup on the ground floor. So that has separate challenges and clearances that you need.
So in a very short span of time, you're figuring out the licenses, you're figuring out the product, you're figuring out
Product
the
was there.
location.
Product
we
was
had
there.
figured out before we
Product was
started.
figured out. We had over 300 batches of like what I did at home only. So that was like if we want to do a different beer, we can do a different beer every week for the next 5-6 years. But then there should be takers also for so much of we can't overcrowd a customer who's just customers who are just getting used to craft beer with so many things. But then if the law changes, we're allowed to keg. I can move beers out of my tanks, so they can be put in kegs, so they can get a wider variety.
That's okay. So step
I think
one,
even before-
figuring out the product,
I think even
and
before
then the
product,
licenses.
Once we had the idea, product recipes, we had already worked on a couple of really good recipes. To translate that into a real venture, we need to figure out investment also, have a business plan in place, how much money it's going to take, because you don't want to be halfway through and then be stuck in
Yeah,
like you have the money
absolutely.
in the bank. So even before that, we met Sanat and Ishan, who were also our partners, and they were also very aligned with the vision. They also wanted to get into the beer industry and start a brewery of their own. Their vision was much bigger, to have like a proper bottling and canning facility, and then we aligned on this to be our POC, proof of concept, that we make this successful, and then we go to the next step, which is bottling and canning.
Because we
So
wanted
between the four of us, we figured out this much is what the project is going to cost us, and let's have a sort of cash surplus with us in hand before we go ahead with the licensing and.
So how much is that money that you wanted to have, you needed to have in the start?
I mean, for this capacity, roughly we estimated around 2.5 to 3.
But
But
went up to
we-
4. And which is actually very good compared to what people are doing in other cities and other places in Delhi itself, because they don't have the concept of in the product itself, they splurge on other things. And we didn't need to do that because before the product was coming also, because of the homebrewing channel, a lot of people in the industry and beyond had already tasted and tried the product. So the hype was already built in a more natural way, and I think also the weight of us getting us our license has also helped us out in its own way.
Yeah, that is the perk of having a community.
Yeah. So again, for us to build a community and to understand, so proof of concept, what Ashish was talking about, for me, I was looking at in terms of, I want to know my customer. Today, if I'm making a beer and then I'm just trying to push product in a bottle in multiple places, we won't know who's drinking it also. We won't know what to change about it. We won't know anything. Now, so that we are sitting at a point where we know what we are drinking and what our people are drinking, how consumer behaves at times when I'm even changing the recipes and all. Like that kind of research, like bigger guys do like halfway into the business. So we wanted to know that whole the mindset of the average consumer before we got into bottles or even expanding in India.
We had the advantage in terms of the product also, in terms of the community also, because we were part of the community for a very long time. We were helping
To friends and froth a lot again.
different brands scale up and reach their right audience, understand what the audience wants. And we were also sort of working on the recipe also with our homebrewing setups. So we had done a lot of R&D even before we sat down to put the numbers on the business plan.
Okay.
That part was already done, but you need a significant capital to set up a production facility with running bar.
And if we just straight away jump into that, it's a complete gamble.
Absolutely.
Like a lot of people are doing it because they saw Bira doing a great job. And everyone wanted to mimic the same style, going to Belgium, making the beer and bringing it, but it doesn't work like that.
So that's a beautiful start, okay? Like community, then product, setting up product, and then you figuring out the capital.
Yeah.
What after that?
I think before figuring out the capital, we were waiting for a very clear signal from the market. That's what we saw in Delhi. And that's when we started figuring out the capital. Once the capital was in, I think the most important thing for any F&B business is the location.
Absolutely.
And we had a very
People thought we're crazy. We chose a place which had nothing around.
mindset about
I said
that.
people will come for the beer. We don't want to be in a market where or in a mall. Mall, I don't want to. I never open a bar in a mall. It really doesn't work.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to be in a place where we are just there. People are coming to us just because we exist over there.
Yeah.
We wanted them to exclusively come that aaj beer peene jayenge, craft beer, we'll go to this place. And then I feel a good brewery should have regulars, and your regulars make the place. And that regular base should keep increasing. And if a person has to come regularly, no one should take about half an hour, 1 hour to park the car and then get out, get in. It should be out and in. Luckily, where we are today, there are offices in the evening, the entire place is free. There's easy to park, it's easy to park, easy to get in out. You can come in, have a beer, under legal permissible levels and get into your car again. And also we have a breath analyzer also at Fort City. If a guest feels like, they want to get checked, if they feel not right about driving, they can always do that and call a cab. We help them call a cab also.
Okay.
So we were looking for, initially our initial target was to get to people who are really serious about drinking beers and who are not.
Eventually serious, as they drink, they're not serious, but
But what they're
beers are
drinking.
very serious. The first two beers are very serious.
Just very particular about what the drinking. Not just randomly walking into a bar and saying, oh yeah, chalo, ye bhi hai yahan pe, ye try karke dekh
See,
lete hain."
now, again, coming back to the concept part, you know what the bigger guys have done? They've been out in the bottling scene, and then they realize after what we did, they come into a more F&B setup.
Yeah.
Because they missed out some point at some place. They don't know what we have over here. They're curious about what we have. And spending money or spending money through inorganic way cannot get that information off to plan what next to do for your company.
Absolutely.
So it has to be built in the stages. So we thought this is a better stage than the other stage, getting into bottles and then doing F&B. That doesn't really make sense to me at all. Because then those guys are rehiring people running F&B, and then at that point, the average consumer will be like, they make such good beers in the F&B outlets, why will I buy the bottle? So it's a different audience.
Toit is also doing that.
Yeah, they're in bottles. But Toy did exactly what we planned to do. I think. See, that was Delhi. The way the beer brands are looking at things were different. Also, because the ease of doing a brew pub situation wasn't very, it wasn't very straightforward at that point.
But in Bangalore, you can
just
But in Bangalore,
very
they
fast.
did that. Yeah,
you
everyone
can
likes to
also
brew pub.
serve in multiple restaurants your own beer. In Delhi, you can't.
In Delhi, I can't.
That's very unfortunate.
Hopefully,
We'll get to that.
Hopefully, we are trying to move it, through our friends at the Delhi Craft Beer Collective. So we all are under one hat today, trying to represent the beer industry, the craft beer industry, so that we are able to make some actual changes. End of it, we want customers to drink great beer.
What is Delhi Craft Beer Collective?
It's a group of similar idiots. Like-minded idiots. Sorry, guys. But why idiots is because we're in this industry.
Yeah.
So we are trying to make changes, and the government today is listening to us. But with what happened with the entire policy in the last few years, with a lot of things going on in court and all nowadays, we're just hoping that the liquor store angle doesn't come into our industry. Because right now they're trying to club both of them while making policy. I don't really care about liquor stores as long as you let me do what Maharashtra. And so it's easy for us because, guys in Maharashtra have done it before.
Yeah.
Guys in Goa have done it before. So now there's this
have a roadmap.
example, and at least 20 years behind it.
Whoa.
Yeah, at least 20 years behind it. And then, see, Delhi never had a big DIY culture for more brew pubs
Right.
and more craft beer brands itself coming out of Delhi. What's happening? They're just doing they're brewing the beers in the same place. So I don't name the brands, but 10 beers are made in the same brewery with no change in any of them. Only the packaging is different.
So it's white labeling.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
आज अगर brewery खोलोगे पहले क्या होता था? When you open up a brewery, you're making Kingfisher basically. You try to do a brand, your brand is a fail because also the mindset was different at that point. And then what do? You be like अपना brand बंद करो, Kingfisher को दे दो. Kingfisher बनाती रहेगी, मेरा brewery चलता रहेगा. बस. So now वहीं पे 10 लोग और आ गए उसी ब्रूरी में, क्योंकि एक बड़ा प्लेयर नहीं बैठा उस ब्रूरी में. So these brewery owners are also getting money from 10 different sources. So they get in a better demand. So it's just working hand in glove. There's no idea of doing any beers. The same guys will change the name of the beer 10 times. Why? One has a good distribution channel, that's why he'll change it. One guy knows the local politicians, that's why he'll get into this business. So that's how it's like.
I mean, there are a couple of gin brands
Yeah,
who were
like
started by bottlers only.
Yeah.
So what is the craft in that?
Gin brands, beer brands. There's some like very known like distributors in Gurgaon. They came out of the beer brand. They also went to Belgium. They also brewed the same beer in the same brewery, changing the name of it.
Yeah, because distribution is a major challenge when you're getting into bottling.
Right.
Somebody's figured out distribution, then for them it makes sense to have a wider portfolio and use that same distribution channel. That's probably the rationale behind
that's
it.
a problem also. That the problem is we're getting a distributor's beer today. We're not getting a brewer's beer in the market.
That's how a lot of craft beer brands, so-called craft beer brands, failed in, especially in Delhi.
They bastardized the word of craft also.
Yeah, that is also I want to talk about once we move to the second phase. So before we move to the second phase,
Let's get some beers.
let's get some beers. Okay, community, product, capital, location, ये सब हो गया है. Location के बाद क्या?
Paperwork.
अब आएगा boring काम.
That's where I specialize.
Yeah.
I've done a PhD in paperwork. So yeah, moving from different departments, getting our licensing done.
Explaining to all the departments that the law like this exists. While showing them the legal document, the act itself, ये देखो सर लिखा है इसमें. नहीं ऐसे कैसे मुझे नहीं पता. आप डिपार्टमेंट में कॉल कर लो. नहीं मेरे को आदमी नहीं पसंद, मैंने बात करूंगा उससे. So at one place what happened, two guys didn't like each other, the junior and senior guys, because one guy was about to retire in the same department. Their offices are across the hall, and they don't like each other.
So we are communicating between them.
That's a soup. How did you get out of that situation?
क्योंकि उसने एक दिन पकोड़े मंगा के इसको पकोड़े ने खिलाए.
Yeah.
Literally, the egos are so flared up, creating a problem for the consumers at the end, and as business owners, it's just creating a problem for everyone.
Yeah.
Like you're there to take the country ahead, not to take care of your own egos, right? So
This paperwork के time पे you were paying rent or you were
we're paying rent all throughout. That's where the budget went up.
वहाँ उसके पकोड़े नहीं पहुँच रहे, यहाँ पे तो तुम्हारा हर महीने का रेंट जा रहा है. How much rent were you paying in the start?
Quite a lot.
Quite a lot. Well, we can't disrupt the market rates, but for the rest of our neighbors right now, because as soon as we moved to the market, everything went up.
But I think the community helped us at that point also. So a lot of departments, when we were working through, and we used to talk to friends, and they used to talk to their friends. There's a brewery coming up. So yeah, then one of the
that was a
departments
different word of mouth.
we found people who were probably related to some of the people.
So once
and
what
had
happened,
interacted with us.
once what happened, he goes to one of the departments, and one of my friends' uncle was there. I wasn't there at the department that day. He's like, आप वही लड़के हो ना जो घर पे बियर बनाता है. This guy was shitting bricks. He sat in the car. He's like, ये क्या हो गया? ये क्या हो गया? Then I figured out it was my friend's chacha.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So then our files start moving faster.
Okay.
And this was the same department where two guys were upset, and that's where we found someone close to us.
So what was happening in this time when 6 महीने you were doing the paperwork, you're not able to sell a product? What was happening in the property?
Nothing.
Just sitting.
Nothing. We used to come here, sit every day. And then we used to at least, we used to have about 10-15 customers walk in every day. And we used to see, we also have a Google review that this place calls themselves a craft beer brewery, but they don't have beer only. This is how, what do? I send the customer who wrote the review to go through this entire red tape with him. But, people don't think through when they're writing these reviews also. Yeah. There is a process.
So we used to start in the morning. We used to sit at the department for 4-5 hours. Then we would come here. We'll sit here.
We used to take breaks. He used to be in one department. I used to be in one department. Yeah. And while this time, I explained my proof of concept to the dhaba outside excise department about what we are doing and all of that. I knew the entire dhaba menu. I also knew कि ये तड़का कब डालता है, इसका खाना किसके क्यों अच्छा है. जूस वाला, ढाबे वाला, सब दोस्त बन गए.
The dhaba guy was like कि सर ऐसे तो आप पैसे बना नहीं पाओगे, आप ढाबा ही खोल दो.
So now you have the product, but you also got the license. Maybe what 7-8 month tak?
1.5 year.
1.5 years.
We were lucky. We were lucky to get it in 1.5 year. Exactly why I told you that it's a complexity combined of a bar and a production unit.
Help me understand the setting up of the brewery, the equipments, because you got the capital, and now is the time. कहाँ से क्या खरीदना है, like, and what?
नहीं वो पहले हो जाता है क्योंकि उस टाइम पे like also so first and foremost this what we spend and what we buy, I mean like it's mainly stainless steel which is going on, and that depends on the total price of stainless steel world over. It's like it's treated like any international commodity, right? So then and then in India, unlike China, again, see in China the laws around opening breweries are very simple and very easy. How does that help? That helps the whole industry of stainless steel. There's a whole city in China which only makes brewing equipment, from the smallest gasket to everything.
Oh wow!
So in China, these equipments are ready. You can go, like, it's short. It's like cash and carry for a brewery also.
It's like Kirana shopping. You go and pick up your container.
In India, a vendor will come, a vendor will fix, a vendor will do that, and that guy will mess up mostly. Then we thought, like, because Indian brand, proud Indian brand, we did everything, we made everything in India. That takes another 6 months. So then you got to put in initial, like a bit of installment for that, and wait for your equipment, and then wait for them to mess up, and then fix your own place up again. So it has to happen simultaneously. It's jagah lene se pehle, like, our equipment is ordered.
Okay, fair enough. And how many equipments and what was the cost?
So, like, I would say a little over 1 crore.
Uh-huh.
And so we can do, we have 6 fermentation tanks and 8 bright tanks. Bright tanks are where the finished beer is kept. So usually in bigger breweries, from bright tanks they do packaging, from bright tanks they straight away sell the beer here.
Okay.
Yeah, beer le aana.
Wow. Nice.
Now we can talk more.
So yeah, for this is what we chased down every department.
What is what?
This is our oatmeal stout. We call it Over the Moon. This is our Nipa, which we call SpongeBob. It's a New England style IPA. This is Dana. It's a take on a saison. And this is Poha Cream Pie.
Poha cream pie. Yeah, I was very surprised by the name.
It's a breakfast beer.
Yeah, it's got about 30-40% Poha. So Poha.
Very light, very easy drinking. Very
Easy
crisp.
drinking, little crisp. So also
It's like your morning coffee.
Ah, nice.
So what's, we thought while naming the beer, what's good in the morning? Some poha for breakfast and some cream pie.
What's your favorite in this?
You see, the thing is, the idea of running a craft brewery is because we feel bored of drinking something and then we change it. So then there's a new favorite every time we walk in. So yeah.
Also depends on what mood we are in. So depending on the mood, I think all of these are favorites. They're here because they're favorites. So this is the second generation of one of our beers. We used to have a beer called Hauzkhas, which was just what the name suggests.
It was getting people too drunk. So this is a little more session version of that.
Dana.
Dana, yeah.
Very likable beer, but very strong. We've reduced the alcohol, and this is like Chota Rakshas.
While having the beer, would you help me understand like the concept to execution of your product?
So, like, see, I'd say, like, given beer, cocktails, like, I'm not speaking for the cocktail industry, but I feel like, inspiration comes from food mainly. And then thinking about India, like, as a country overall, like, one similar thing, like, see, हमारा complex palate हमेशा से रहा है. Because the same dal can taste different in every house. And we know that difference. So the palate sensitivity is there. So I'd say the best inspiration as a craft brewery from India, representing India, our inspiration should be food and everything around. From ek sharbat se lekar pani puri ke pani tak, everything is inspiration. And I'd always say you have to be a foodie to be a brewer. I've done beers which we aged in an old soya sauce barrel. Se lekar, that wasn't in India, and then we tried to put squid ink in a beer. So, for example, it goes a little too extreme where brewers take it. There's a brewery Sam Callion started. It's called Dogfish Head. They put bull testicles inside of it.
Are you kidding me?
That sounds a bit gimmicky.
Yeah.
But no, we're not going that crazy, but the situation demands, we are ready.
Yeah.
We're ready to do that. I'm hoping the situation demands it, right? Because I get bored about because to be honest, like at times when we don't change the beer a few times, I don't feel like coming to my own bar. so we need to change VAs. So that's the whole idea of doing craft beer.
Yeah.
So everything inspires. So the first stage is like if I eat something or drink something, I think about how it works in beer, because something which works in a food thing cannot work in this because ingredients are different. There's a process of fermentation which is involved.
And you have you did chai masala, this poha.
We did a pani puri sour beer also.
What?
Yeah.
We did a pani puri sour beer. But those are some innovation series we just do for fun at times when we feel we're not being stupid enough. Because rebellion is stupidity at times.
Yeah.
You have to keep the rebellion on all throughout. We have to keep acting stupid and we have to keep getting the stupidity ahead.
Okay, but this is very Indianized.
So our inspiration comes obviously always from the guys who've been brewing beers for 500 years and plus. If I go back to Indian way of brewing beers, that died out when the slave dynasty came and took over. So there used to be a beer called Fukka, which the Jats and Gujars of Delhi NCR used to be making. And then when these guys came in, because there was no alcohol was prohibited in Islam, so then they shut down these guys. So when you traditionally look at that, this was in about 1000 AD. Right? Traditionally, when you look at it, that is very similar, like a Belgian or an American, Belgian or a German style wheat beer recipe. So yeah, coming back to the point before, is we take the brewing techniques cannot change, but inspiration can be Indian. So that's in start. What we've been doing is we've been adding one Indian ingredient to all the beers. They don't need to be Indian as origin. वो तो आलू भी नहीं है.
Yeah.
We are doing that for another reason, for them to trust Indian brands more, so that whole colonist mindset goes away that Germany can make good beer. No, they make excellent beers, but by the time they come to India, they're going to be disgusting. Right? You make them locally. I would love to have like a Paulaner next door. I would love to have a Hofbrauhaus like Augustiner somewhere around in Delhi, but that's not going to happen. So that's the whole idea for us. We can do it here also. You should stop thinking we cannot do it here. Why? They have an issue about pani. हमारा पानी खराब है. यार पानी खराब तो मतलब उसको ठीक करो ना. लॉजिक है. क्या आरओ है. आरओ क्यों बना है? बियर बनाने के लिए नहीं, वैसे पानी पीने के लिए. We design water before we design the beer. Like Ireland is known for stouts, good stouts. Why? Because the water in Dublin had higher carbonates at that point. So what we do is we strip all the TDS, all the minerals of the water. We get a TDS close to somewhere about 7 to 8, and then add salts to the water just so that we're mimicking the water of that particular state or city and so on. So when you're studying beer, so it's called Dublin water style. For IPA, it will be a different water style. So in that way, like for Pilsner or lagers, you need much softer water. So this has been made in certain way, probably for distributors to just sell crap to you guys. Right.
Fair enough. That leads me to the part to Ashish. Can you help me understand what is the demographics that you have at your Fort City?
We actually get very serious beer drinkers. We get people here who come just for a specific
Serious
beer
in the
style.
start, yeah.
Yeah. If let's say the stout's not available, they would just get up and go. They'll be like, just let me know when the next stout comes on tap. So they're very particular about
that day they don't mind
want to
risking
drink.
going to another. They don't mind risking their whole day. Like, I'll take the risk today.
But in terms of demographics, we see slightly older crowd that comes here. People who have traveled the world, people who know what good beer is from an average beer. So we get a lot of educated crowd in terms of alcohol, very fine drinking crowd here. And that's the demographics we keep in mind while deciding what to brew. In terms of work profiles, I'd say very seasoned professionals, lawyers, doctors,
Wow.
consultants, business owners. That's a prime TG, but
This area also have like a lot of expats.
Yeah, we have a lot of expats.
also come.
The
They
ones
come and
who
go.
were behind the doors, no, before they're doing their whole bottle sharing and all. Now they'll have a place now, and that's how at times when they're traveling they get us a bottle. So through people's love, right?
We get a lot of tourists, expats,
ये बना के
people who are
दिखाओ.
traveling from other parts of the world. We get a lot of people who just land at the airport. They Google the best microbrewery in
Craft
Delhi,
beer.
craft beer in Delhi, and they just land up here with their luggage and everything. They have a pint. They
I think it's them to feel a little normal with jet lag and all, right?
and feel a little relatable also. They come into a new country, but there's still something familiar. Some good craft beer with good body and taste profile. But we don't plan our beers. We don't design our beers based on these people in mind. We design them more based on what local audience we have. So we're doing a series of beers called NFT, which is not for tourists. So those beers will be available on tap, but only for our regulars.
Nice.
So it'll not be on the menu.
Very interesting concept.
Have to know that we have that beer.
So how many batches do you brew in a week?
So beer takes about 2 to 3 weeks to be ready. So the concept of fresh beer doesn't exist. So that concept, I think Gurgaon Brewery started it just because there was nothing on draft in Gurgaon.
It's a marketing gimmick.
Yeah, it's not like
Fresh
marketing gimmick for their own audiences who are not there for the beer. They're there for getting drunk at a cheap price.
Everything is fermented. It takes 2 weeks.
2 weeks, like 10 days to
Minimum.
2 weeks. Minimum.
Yeah.
So you brew one batch and then stays. You serve that.
Fermenter for 2 weeks.
Yeah, fermenter and then it comes to the meat.
What's the batch size?
We do 600 liters.
Okay, and that's standard.
And
Like
we're talking about
size.
microbreweries, from
Yeah,
100 to 10,000 liters. We stuck to 600 because that aligned with our overall ideology for behind Fort City, which was innovation and creativity. We wanted to brew different beers, not brew one beer and then sell that for 2 months, 3 months. So smaller capacity makes us more innovative, gives us better leverage because we get to empty our tanks quicker.
Okay,
We can brew new beers, different recipes faster.
I'll ask a very generic but very misunderstood question or part. What is craft beer?
See, the biggest problem is us trying to define it. If I define it, it's stuck in a boundary, right?
Yeah.
So let's not define it only.
Makes sense.
But a craft is
So that's also actually my thing is also in the ass because everyone's using the word craft.
Yeah,
Just leave it to the audience, right? Let them all describe craft.
I mean,
The best answer gets 2 pints of beer at Fort.
makes sense. But in coffee, like a Starbucks call them a craft, and then people are like, okay, it's a chain. I mean, then you cannot call yourself a craft because
craft is heavily localized, I feel, very personalized.
Okay, how about the sense if someone's doing the same thing, it's not craft.
Yeah.
It becomes mainstream. Someone's changing something, it's craft. Like Fort City.
See, in the process, there is a lot of science involved,
It makes sense. The bottling guys go away.
but craft comes when at the core you have a basic science of brewing. You can't change the process. It's going to take same time for fermentation. It's going to take same time for mashing, and you have to have carbonation to serve it at certain carbonation level. But on that core, you have a layer of art, wherein you put in your creativity, your thought process, the way you want to work around. Even for the brewing, mashing at different temperatures, all that is the art that the brewer brings in. It's not purely art. There's some science involved, but together with science, a layer of art on top of it, very heavily personalized and non-commoditized. Probably that's where we feel craft should stay. You can put the word and put it on any label.
And you can do the same thing for the next 50 years.
don't
You
keep
can't
it
call
changed.
yourself craft, right?
Yeah.
Even if you do the same thing repeatedly.
You can call yourself craft, but then it's for the consumer to understand and differentiate.
what's the size of pints that you serve here?
We do a 500 ml. Also, again, a pint is always usually 500 ml and higher. An American pint is, I think, somewhere about 473 ml. English pint in London is 500 ml. As you go north, it goes up to 560 ml also.
So we do two sizes. We have a shaker pint, which is 300 ml, and we have a pint glass, which is 500.
Okay. Can you help me understand the unit economics of that 500 ml?
Yeah, sure. We do that 500 ml roughly around it's 1 rupee per liter is what we sell it at. So if I'm looking at 1 liter of beer, let's say we're selling it at 1,000 rupees, the cost of brewing would typically be around, if you want to brew something of this quality, it will be around 150, 200 rupees. On top of that, if you add cost of innovation, because not every beer we design gets to see the tap. So not every beer comes out the way we want to serve it. So if you add that, it's around 250 rupees.
अरे हाँ, फिर बहुत लोग खोलेंगे, बता फिर हम लोग टेक ओवर कर लेंगे, चलाने पड़ेंगे, बहुत बता, सब बता. Okay, we have about 10x margins.
इतना आसान होता खोलना.
अरे लोगों को लगेगा नहीं देख के, लगता है लोगों को ना आसान. So I get a call once as a consultancy gig. Someone is like, Gurgaon में brewery खोलना. Very akru guy is talking to me. He's like, he asked me my consultancy charges and all, and I told him my consultancy charges. तो he's like, गुड़गांव में तो उससे आधे में हो जाएगा, इसके क्या 1/10 पे हो जाएगा. मैंने बोला सर जी एकदम जाइए उनके पास सर. Then I got a call from the same guy again. दरअसल हम एक एक रेस्टोरेंट चलाते हैं और 10 साल से रेस्टोरेंट चल रहा है. अब मेरी बेटे की शादी करानी है, तो बताना है मार्केट में हमारे पास ब्रूअरी भी है.
ओके. नेटवर्थ बढ़ जाएगा.
उस चक्कर में मैंने बोला अंकल जी आप वो तो मैं क्यों आऊँ? The Indian thing can happen through anyone else, so why should I be there? And then he's like, बात तो सही बोला बेटे आपने. He went and worked with someone else. I was more than happy with him. Because I knew that's a client I didn't even want to take on. Because he's going to nag me every time. अभी भी शादी नहीं हुई. पंडित जी ने बोला ये बेर बनाओ फिर शादी होगी.
That's fair. So
a lot of people coming into this business really thinking like that, right? Some of them think like that.
see, at the end, the point of this podcast is let them understand, have a gist about it, that what it takes for how much.
That's why we are also sitting here. We want more people to come in, so that more people coming together and telling people what craft is.
Yeah,
I think we'll have lesser people getting confused.
more places, more beer to try. So yeah, coming back to the unit economics.
Yeah. If you go to Gurgaon, you'll see one side of it wherein people don't even let the beers finish. So for them, of course, the cost of brewing is half. Because it's something
one of the brewers, I told him, your basically a green beer means an unfinished and unfermented beer. For example, in Gurgaon, there are about 5-6 people who know how to make beer, brewers, and there are about 70 to 80 odd brew pubs. So say one, the owner wants the same beer everywhere. These guys are consulting. And then now the owner then recalculates his bullshit, thinking that, अरे यार अब तो मेरे बंदे को जो साफ सफाई कर रहा है उसको बेर बनानी आ गई. देखे बेटे तूने? हाँ बनाया. हाँ सर मेरे को सब आता है. Fire the brewer, make the janitor the brewer. And for them in their mind, it's like making chai.
But do you think that will work? I don't.
It doesn't work at all. That's the reason the beers are like this.
But you'll see both ends of the spectrum. In certain parts of NCR, you would see people not even finishing the complete fermentation process of beer and just serving it, putting it on tap because there's so much demand. People want to drink that stuff and fall sick the other day. And then there are people like us who let the beer develop, get to what it's supposed to be.
It's a natural science. It's live, active, living thing. Because the beers are non-pasteurized, the beers are living today. There's live yeast in all the beers.
We're happy losing sale, but we're not happy solving
how do I explain? दही जमाने में भी टाइम लगता है यार. दही को दही की तरह नहीं तो दूध होगा ना वो. So that's the issue. One of the major issues is that, the market in Gurgaon, Delhi, NCR that made it so like, been serving green shit beers all the time, that they expect something to be on tap all the time. It's almost, just straight up logic. 12 साल अगर विस्की कास्ट में रहना उसको 12 साल तभी बोल पाओगे जब 12 साल है ना उसको.
Fair enough.
है ना. ये नहीं कि मैं मतलब उसको बोल लूँ 12 साल है मैं 3 साल बाद निकाल दूँ. मतलब एकदम illogical होता है. कभी उसके पीछे they write reviews also.
But actually they do that. not the entire blend.
I know, but
The major part of it is 3 years old.
Yeah,
They'll add small drops of 12-year-old whiskey.
okay, that's still not on my topic.
And they'll call it 12 years old.
Oh my God! But whiskey is not your topic, but that is definitely your customer.
But you see, that is my customer. I'm trying to convert, but the logic, what I'm trying to explain is like the same thing. You can't call anything like that while it's not that, right? I can't call it a lager. A lager, the word lagering only means to store. So if I'm not able to lager it properly, like what's the whole point of me making a lager? Also, I can just do that shit. Like we will not let that happen with our beers. Like if it's not there on tap, because I have to drink it on later. If I put it on tap and I can't drink it, I'll feel bad if I'm not drinking that beer and I'll miss that beer more. So we'll take a sweet time and we'll be making those beers. Let people complain about it. Beer is not on tap because it's fucking good and people drank it. You missed the bus. You were not there when they were drinking it. Feel sad about that. Let us take our own sweet time to make a good product.
Fair.
Because I constantly get calls, beer khatam hai, beer khatam. Bhai khatam ho gayi. Yaar, main kya karu? मैं जल्दी में तेरे को गंदा तो नहीं पिलाऊंगा ना कुछ.
What is the major share of profit comes from beer, food, and how is it divided?
Now, majorly it comes from beer, but as a brew pub in India, anywhere in India, you have to have food, good food on the menu, which has lesser margins for us, but we have to keep it. That balances our P&L. This is how our profits look. If you consider this glass of the glass here, this is where our profits are. We want it to look like this.
Wow.
Yeah, this is how it looks.
So what do you need to do to look like this?
I think there's certain changes that are coming in right now as part of the excise policy. We are supposed to pay excise duty on the full capacity. Now we are moving towards a more progressive way of
where we have a flow meter.
work.
And we actually pay. So earlier, we are paying for the entire capacity, even if you're not selling the entire capacity. So say, for example, my capacity is 5,000 liters. In summer, I'm selling about 5,000 liters. I'm okay paying for that. In winters, almost 6 months, because Delhi, unlike other cities in India and other major cities in India, it's got two peak temperatures. And people move off from beer during the winters. And during the winters, they're paying their full capacity, which is really pinching, because that's a fixed cost we're going to be paying every month.
Yeah. So that's getting changed. We're going to see that very soon. And then there's excess capacity that we have, which we can utilize by supplying to other bars and all. So that's...
So you do B2B also?
No, not right
We're
now.
not
We're hoping
policy.
we can do that from the next 6 months, after 6 months, sorry. That happens, it'll be a game changer. And Delhi will have its own beer, because still right now Delhi doesn't have its own beer. Beer comes from everywhere. So we're really hoping that happens. And yeah, man, like everyone, tell the government to help us do that.
So why is Delhi such a hard market to have a beer?
See,
I think one thing you already mentioned, the weather is quite harsh.
weather is one thing.
If you look at Bangalore and Pune, they have fairly limited variation in terms of weather. People drink beer throughout the year. They start drinking at 10 a.m. in the morning. Winters, summers, monsoon, all seasons, they will have similar
and
business happening. In Delhi, it's very seasonal.
Another main thing, when you see like this, the cocktail culture and the spirit forward culture is much bigger in Delhi. There's another reason to it. All the major offices from Pernod, Diageo, have all been placed around, all the head offices have been around Delhi background. So what they did is pumped in so much money into the cocktail scene, which restricts government also from making change in the beer scene. So because they're pumping in money, all this is happening, the crafts, the cocktail scene was higher. So the government always focused on that. And then obviously it's a lobby. Those lobbies will obviously try to bring us down always. So it's a competition between lobbies. So I think that restriction a lot has got to be with the bigger players being more involved into the cocktail scene.
So environment and hard liquor being pushed forward more.
Yeah, and Delhi
Also-
being a hard liquor market overall, because a lot of consumption happens during the winter months also. Summer months, beer is there. Even though from beer, people want to move, if they start with the beer and move to a whiskey, even in summers. There's a whole reason. The reason to it is because they feel beer doesn't get you that drunk, But if you drink good beers, they can get you much drunker than like a 500 ml of an 8% beer is about drinking a quarter. A quarter of a 40% spirit.
Also, one more point I'd like to add Delhi is a very culturally sensitive market as compared to other beer drinking markets, Maharashtra and Bangalore, which is the beer capital. So it's a very family. It's a big family situation in Delhi. Like most of the people are staying with the families in big houses, as compared to Pune and Bangalore, where people are either students or corporate workers into tech firms. So eventually, when they're going back, they're not going back to their parents, so they can have one or two beers even during let's say Navaratras and go back home. In Delhi, most of the people are in close families. This entire, especially this Navratra to the wedding season till end of mid-December.
Diwali, everyone's having card parties at home. No
Going to
one's
be very
coming for-
heavy family engagement situation. And in India, beer is considered more like regular alcohol, hard liquor. Whereas if you look at how other countries look at beer, it's more like coffee.
Okay.
Going back to your family, and you're going to be called out for being drunk, then why not have proper like hard liquor instead of
See,
beers.
historically, back in the days, like, when there was a class divide in India, suras, like beers, wines, and kind of fermented alcohols, are meant for the
Higher
ruling
classes.
classes, the ruling higher classes. Arishtans, spirits were for the lower classes. Why? They want to keep the lower classes in a
Inebriated.
hazy state of
Drunken.
mind so that they can rule over there. The British come in, what do they see? ये तो चल रहा है, बढ़िया चल रहा है, बहुत साल से चल रहा है. Let's continue that. फिर क्या हुआ? वो चले गए फिर अपने politicians side.
Yeah.
चल रहा है, चल रहा है, ये चलने दे. So that is
Britishers
also
would
one of the
get-
main reasons for this.
So they would get beers for them from UK that they could drink, and they would make sure like
That's how
others-
IPA came into existence.
Yeah.
Others would
Yeah.
be drinking hard liquor.
IPA was
you know,
like they could not bring good beer from there to India, and that's
Yeah.
why they started
Yeah.
like let's do it in India.
And,
They
and,
started adding
and,
hops.
and spirits,
Yeah.
like, I think gin and tonic, gin became a big thing around, if I'm sure, I'm not really sure, but there was a society who founded gin and tonic in Lahore or somewhere around. Indian tonic, that's what it's called. Yes, I think that's the thing. That you can bitch about it, like it's okay. You can write about it, it's okay. I'm saying I'm not that sure. But yeah, I think that was the story of gin.
So if you combine these cultural
यार chicken tikka garlic,
Aspect-
butter garlic naan मिल जाए.
and the variation
Check out
in
your
weather, there's a huge seasonality that we see, especially in October, December, in the third quarter, which is not there in Pune, Bangalore at all. So they run similar sales throughout the year, similar consumer behavior throughout the year, which is where we feel the beer market lacks, because that's 25% of your sale that's just wiped out. So
I mean,
maybe
maybe at times
that
it's
cannot
huge.
change.
Like, for example, Bangalore.
Diwali scene is not big, wedding scene is not that big.
Yeah, it's big, but
whole
like, people
Cultural
in a different way.
whole cultural
No, the card
aspect is
party
very
scene
different.
is not so dominant in the south.
Yeah.
It's more in the north. And south has got like a similar kind of weather throughout the year.
So it's more of a like outgoing culture is also comparatively less
Yeah.
in Delhi is another reason. Okay, that
Yeah. I mean, if you compare it to
See,
Bombay,
I mean, think of it.
Bombay has like smaller houses. Delhi has much bigger houses.
People
People
stay in
space
Bombay.
with
They
house
don't want to. They
parties.
don't want to invite people home. If they're
Yeah.
meeting friends, they'll meet them outside. In Delhi, it's all chat pe baithte hain. So
And
that's
with
it.
this
No?
kind of production setup, we can't get into homes and supply. We have to have people coming here.
moving to the last question. So, if you can change, if both of you answer, if you can change one policy or regulation so that other people can start brewery easily, what would that be?
So that first and foremost, like, we want this kegging law setup to be done. Kegging growlers, like we should be having a canning setup over here so that we're able to supply cans and all. Everything stays here. A brewery to brewery to bar. I mean, brew should not be beyond 10, 12 kilometers. That will not happen till the time government changes its policies and rethink about the whole idea about if you want to be a progressive Indian government or you want to keep the general your voter ban drunk all the time and distribute daru all the time to get your own vote. So decide about that, right? Don't be doing the same bullshit what the previous governments around the country are doing or the present governments are doing. Be more progressive. Take Maharashtra as an example. They might have other issues, but you know what? They gave us policy. They made it much easier to do this business. Delhi should have done that before Maharashtra. Maharashtra is a much bigger state, way, way bigger. It's a proper state. Like, this is a city state. If they could make these changes, why can't we make these changes? If the government thinks it's doing a very progressive job today, please do this. Listen to us, mate.
We have to change something. Of course, kegging is something we would doubt. But if we can get some policy bill to supply beers to people's home through pipelines.
Through pipelines.
Cleaning will be too
Why
expensive.
not
Cleaning will be too expensive.
Now that is like, I need to have another question. What would be the beer fantasy?
DLF, imagine DLF working with us to set up the next Camellias where we have brewery on top, you're actually a piper. That is really possible.
like your Wi-Fi at your home.
Listen to us, please. Listen to us, please.
But if you look at entire country as one, most of the goods and services, they come under GST. Alcohol is still under VAT. Every state has a different policy, which doesn't let microbreweries unify and things
See,
go
I feel
on the
like
same.
lot of
If there's something that can happen which unifies the policy across state boundaries, that would really help in Delhi's context, because Delhi is never treated as one city. It's always treated as NCR, National Capital Region.
Yeah.
So we could have a brewery here, and if the laws are similar in Gurgaon, in UP, we could supply to other states as well, which right now involves excise duties already there. Then you have import duties, export duties between states.
And I would love it if Delhi works in such a progressive way that everyone from there is coming here and picking up alcohol and going there. Right?
Yeah.
That is going to happen no matter what they do, right? You can't. So today for me to do this business in India, so I feel a lot of beer companies fail. They do really well in an area. When they try to expand, it's like working in like the 28 different countries.
Yeah, every state has.
Every state, everything. So rather I would go to another country, right? I get my monthly foreign trip also, but
You have to start from scratch. You have to build a completely new business plan. Excise rates are different. The laws are different. The different ways in which you have to manage.
If European
production.
Union could do it with so many countries around being under one union, why it's not happening? Because again, red tape is around governments, thinking about their own pockets. They keep people drunk all the time. बंदा अगर दारू पी के कल काम पे नहीं जाएगा तो उसको निकालेंगे तो किसका फायदा हुआ? बिजनेस वाले का फायदा हुआ, बिजनेस वाले का फायदा हुआ तो किसका फायदा हुआ? बिजनेस वाला दे रहा है ना पीछे.
What's the future of coffee? Sorry, not coffee. I need coffee. So what's the future of beer brewing in Delhi in next 5 years? Do you think?
So see, if this policy works out, there'll be multiple tap rooms. There'll be people actually talking about beer. So first, beer is more casual compared to a hard liquor, so they have to segregate this. So our entire 5-year plan can only depend on the government, what they plan to do for us. Otherwise, what will we do? We'll put the same money somewhere else, right?
So I am expecting a lot of tap rooms.
Yeah. If the policy changes, a lot of new brands, a lot of new microbreweries. It's just that the policy is designed such a way. Right now, it's very high capital intensive business. The kegging policy comes in, then the capex will go down. We'll see more tap rooms, more brands coming in.
It will be more centralized. Like the brewing process will be more centralized, and then we can just send kegs to every place.
And then it helps all the breweries in a way that people from different parts of Delhi will have access to good quality craft beers. Right now, the work we are doing here, people are coming from West Delhi, North Delhi.
Meerut. We have a bunch of people who come every weekend from Meerut.
And they have to come all the way here, spend 2 hours in traffic to have a good IPA. Right. If the kegging policy comes in, we are available in different parts, or other breweries and their tap rooms are available in different parts. People get a taste of an IPA closer to their place. And then they talk about it more. Then more people get to try, more people get to know about us. So I think overall that will help every brand to come up in a better way and position themselves more profitably with respect to the commercial beer brands.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashish.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gandhi.
Thank you.
It was really helpful. I hope audience take out some really good insight and we will have a lot of competition for you guys.
Man, we love that.
We love that.
Really great that. We love that. Thank you.
Cheers,
Thank
man.
you so much, man. Cheers.
Hope you like the coffee.
Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for watching Spilling Beans episode 4. In this episode, we talked about what goes behind starting a craft beer brewery, all the insights of what it requires from business to product. If you're planning to start F&B business, this will help you motivate and give you the right insights. Next episode will be dropping soon, and I will spill more beans. Thank you so much.